We are playing NGS.
Extraction.
On topic, let me digress a little bit where I said Krono, about some Krono stuff and also the mentality that he has. I don't want to blame him. And I also want to digress on blaming on the development team because as I went to get some water and it had me thinking it's not players like Krono and like myself and people that is manipulating the market system of how
Welcome.
they only visualize of just by selling items, and they are able to manipulate because of the higher management of the developer team and the person who thought of those ideas, and also the company itself, Sega. They are to blame of everything from JP management and global management. Let me tell you why.
See you later.
Because of the company Sega, from different management from JP and global, they are the blame of certain mechanic systems and how you use the market system, and also the economy, how is function from the base PSO2 game and now. And I cannot recall of other market system from passing PSO2 because I haven't played those. I played the PSP version, but I can't remember. I can't recall. I only went to certain so far in a certain point. So can I blame Krono how he's thinking and how he's projecting or how he views um, how the game is in the state of the game now and how he views how he plays the game? No, I cannot, because that's his opinion and that his point of view, and also the mentality of, you know, of a hacker, glitcher, cheeser, cheater, so on and so forth. He has the same mentality as me. So I cannot blame on his style of play because that's how he plays, and I can't recall if he plays mid-maxing. I cannot blame his style. I cannot blame how other players play the game or how they interpret of how they use the economy as the only prime source of income. So market system wise, how you partake and how you visualize of how you get in-game currency faster, or like Kuropi, how you could gain Meseta faster in whatever minutes or hours or whatever procedure. I
See you
cannot
later.
blame those any content creator really. I have to blame at the company itself, the management, how they produce and give us these type of things. They are the blame, not the consumers, because we're not at fault how things end up. and certain choices we have to blame. But in this case, what Krono has been saying, it's, it's a double-edged sword how he views certain things, because there's certain things I agree with and some things I disagree with completely. And so far I've been agreeing with critical how he takes on things and view things, and there's certain things that it's uh, how he views the game, and 100% agree. But I'm adding to it. But let's go on.
I think this goes back to like variety.
Exactly.
Like needing a variety of things instead of just the one quest being the main quest to do. I think it's just mainly that. Yeah, I think it's because he was able to get this stuff. Because he is a gearing kind of guy. I feel like he isn't huge on cosmetics. Because he's always like I don't think he ever scratches on the SG scratches like that are cosmetic based. Because I swear this has come up before, like a while back, or he does not do that. He is very numbers guy, mechanical.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get the best of the best.
He's more mathematic
wise. Now
wise.
that he's hit that best of the best, and it's stayed this way for a while, and he can't farm gear for other people and make money off of it, he's in a weird spot himself.
Exactly.
Like, I do agree that I think hitting the best of the best too fast can be a problem.
I do agree.
But I don't think it's as easy as he thinks it is.
No.
I don't think he understands what it's like to go from absolutely fucking nothing to best in slot.
He doesn't.
Or even something to best in slot.
I don't think so. But
like how much work that actually takes, because he plays every single day. Like, I don't think he realizes. Because even with the prices that are currently there, you guys fucking saw. You guys saw how I was struggling.
Yeah.
See you later.
Like, with all those fucking augments, man, like, I was going fucking insane.
Welcome.
And that's what how the prices currently are.
Exactly. And just to, like, brief understanding. So, like, if I want to enhance my weapon, it will take some time. It's pretty much a gamble, especially on how much Meseta that you have and make. It all depending on each individual player and how much time you have on your hands. So with that being said, if you have 30 minutes or an hour or so, there are certain things that you can do. If you're gonna farm, you're gonna grind, and if you want to dedicate that. But if you're a type of person like myself that you're doing a little bit of everything, and just to get your fix and enjoy the game how it is, you could do only so much. Especially if you have like kids, or if you're married, or if you have a girlfriend, or things that involves the economy in real life situation. If people has to pay the bill, taxes, and all that good stuff. There, the way of life, the way of living, is gonna take more priority than the game. The game is you're just going there to forget whatever the hell is happening in the real society. But there are people that take it like a day job, and shit hits the fan. So there are primary focus is even if it's making content or playing the freaking game till your head explodes. And when that happens, it's like I said, the rabbit and the hare. Depending on what you choose, if you want to go fast to get to the certain point of the game and, reach where I'm at and maybe higher to do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get yourself burned out. But if you're slow as a tortoise, doing it step by step, taking it your sweet ass time, regardless how long it takes, you're enjoying the process, regardless of what level cap you are in, because it's not even capped. 100 is the cap. But if you're enjoying the process and slowly improving, you're gonna have you're in a better spot, in better situation, and a better outcome, because your end game hasn't reached. You haven't reached where everyone is at. And also, if you don't pay attention to um, certain content creators, of because you're in that state of mindset. But if you're not swayed by people that's manipulating the market, all you're gonna focus is on you to improve the outcome of your game.
Welcome.
So if you're not worrying about getting, the best thing, because as you slowly progress, there's going to be something better that's going to replace whatever's here. So if you're waiting for that, you're in a better position. But if you reach to the current position and the state of the game now, you're in the worst position, because you're just getting your fix on that new shiny object. Because of that new shiny object, things go to shit and haywire, because everyone wants it. But also, do you really need it? I don't think so. But each and every player will have different type of mentality and different mindset. But let's continue.
Now it's just to make one set of gear.
Do you partake in any activity in your throat?
Shut up.
Yeah, maybe he's just upset that he had to work harder for his gear because he did it right away instead of waiting.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's exactly how he feels. Because he values best in slot so highly.
Exactly.
And now that it's devalued, it is worthless. What he accomplished feels worthless. It doesn't feel like an accomplishment.
Exactly. So the people that focus on best in slot, supposedly, best in slot is pay to win. So he was able to pay to win to get there, but he also making hustle to get everybody else to have best in slot. It's pretty much kind of like a car seller or car dealer. The hot new thing of, a Lamborghini, we could say, or what's it called, BMW. The the 2005 models. They're gonna reach to that point, so they're gonna buy so many of that same model and say this is the best vehicle. In order to get this, it's gonna cost you this much. If you want to be just like me and like anybody else, or like how Tesla, right? That Cybertruck, people are saying that's the best state of vehicle. You need to get a Tesla. Tesla is shit. It's the worst vehicle ever. It's either death trap, or someone that is a hacker could manipulate your car. because everything is starting to be digital. Sooner or later, those bad hackers, it's gonna, take over your house, take over your vehicle. Think of cyberpunk. We're gonna be in the exactly same position. Just an FYI. So he's pretty much doing that, but in a game scale. That since everyone has it or supposedly have it, and best in slot, so pay to win became the norm, and he achieves this greatness that he don't have that high anymore or that fix. So like Critical said, he's in a weird spot because he achieved something, he gained something so fast that whatever he gained, he's already in the top. He don't have anything else to do. He's bored out of his mind. But as um, Krono had stated in his long ago video, that he found his lover and got married in game and out of game. So NGS is his baby. He can't not let it go. So he has a different viewpoint mindset of things. Why he built his empire for just to shit and giggle. Alright? I'm not saying he built an empire, but just theory crafting. He built something, but now he's into a certain peak, prime moment. He don't know what else to do because he achieved everything. So everyone that is at the exactly same level as him or the same mindset as him, they achieved what they want to, and there's nothing else. So the only thing is screwing up the market system to get that high and amping up the augments. But once a new augment's over, that's the only high that they have. And best in slot is pretty much came to a norm. It's not the best in slot anymore, because it's pretty much pay to win, but it's not pay to win anymore because of how Sega killed that idea and just fold it to something else. So now look, Mars system. He cannot do anything with the Mars system because you cannot buy it, or how you could only craft certain things. He cannot make currency out of that. So he's in that weird position that he doesn't know what else to do. So he's putting the blame on free to play players. That's what I kind of see it. I might be mistaking it, but I should say he should focus on helping players that wants to change the game, like myself. I won't change the game for the better, but also he doesn't really have to. He could, like I said, find ways and change my ideas to adapt for his or improve it. But let's go on.
Because it has gotten easier than what he had to go through.
Exactly.
I think that's what it mainly is.
It could be that.
They should have took a break when he had that burnout video not too long ago. Well, that's what happens when you're addicted to the game. You don't want to let it go. It is your home.
Mm-hmm.
It is your identity.
Mm-hmm.
It is the comfort zone. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, for me, when I got absolutely burnt out, I actually stopped playing the game for months. And then now I only play it like once every couple weeks, or like when a bigger thing comes out and it looks interesting to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just the main issue is like how most of the stuff is grinded, not how much it's like worth on the market. To be honest, and I think he's ignoring the fact that most of these augments have been best in slot for so long. That's why they are not worth as much. I can guarantee you, when there's a new augment that comes out, it's going to be high price.
Well, it
That's just
certainly
what always happens. Unless if they just give it to us in droves, or it's super fucking common, I can guarantee you that it's going to be expensive as fuck. It always is. And then the longer it is the best in slot, the cheaper and cheaper it'll get because more and more people have it. So I think his logic on this is a bit skewed. Because also keep in mind, we have variants to these best of slots too.
Mm-hmm.
We have the mods which have been coming out the last few months. So that's even extended the longevity of these augments longer than what has been done in the past. But I can almost guarantee you, once we get the new fields, somewhere around there, we're going to get the plus 100, get the 8th augment slot, and there's going to be new augments, because that's, I believe they said there will be new augments.
Yep.
I can basically guarantee you that at least one of those new augments will be expensive as fuck.
Yeah, and
it's going
also
to be
armor
rarer or harder to make.
Weapons.
It's going to involve a lot.
Hell yeah.
So, but, I mean, we'll see. You can hold me to it, but we'll see.
We don't really have a situation where the player is asked to move outside of the start gate. You get a set of gear to start with, and you never have to move forward. So when you do move forward, it never feels like it's worth it. You didn't work to get there. You didn't do anything to get there. You weren't even stopped by the game to get there.
He's wrong on that.
I think this is like a yes and no thing. I think in the past this is definitely true 100%, but I think recently things have been getting harder. Like some things actually feel like a challenge. Like Masquerade 100, for instance. I would say if you have freebie gear, if you somehow get to rank 100 with freebie gear, and then actually do rank 100, you're a fucking god. You are.
Masquerade, that type of, it's possible to reach level 100. I'm thinking of doing it just with free gear, but I have to have the augments, the right set of augments to do that. If I don't have the right set of augments and I haven't spent on, what's it called?
See you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
Okay. If I didn't spend on add-on skill,
Come by anytime,
then
okay?
I would have a hard time doing the level 100 part. But if I put myself to it on putting the add-on skill and getting the right set of add-on skill for my play style, and also get
Welcome.
the right set of augments for my equipment, then I would say yes, I can do the Masquerade level 100 with free augments. I mean, the free gear on its own, because I have the skill for it. On top of that, I would have maximized the add-on skill and having this right augments for the free equipment that I gain. However, will it be achievable? Yes. Will it be hard? That I don't know. I haven't tried it, so I cannot really say. But I would say it would be a challenge. And if people are looking for a challenge, they should be equipping and maintaining what is the best free equipment and use that. But if you're just focusing on, quote unquote best in slot, free to play shit, then you pretty much have it down packed and it's gonna be easy. You're gonna pass with flying colors. Other than if you don't know how to button smash well, and if you don't have a skill per se, or your dodge, your evade, it's not the best, or countering is not the best. You're just focusing on DPS. You're just uh, focusing on numbers and hitting on the monster. If you're focusing up, then you're gonna win with no. It's gonna be no brainer, an easy feat. But if you are focusing on techniques and combos and improving your skill on whatever skill you choose, because my skill is mostly on countering, but yes, I'm flawless, getting it perfect almost every time, but they're gonna be, you know, here and there, I'm not gonna be countering everything. Am I a master of it? I'm pretty much almost better than. I don't want to tweak my horn, but I could say countering. I'm one of the top players out there of countering and dodging and evading because they're not focusing on that. That's not their style, but that is my style. I'm trying to be a master of that, but there's gonna be a certain point. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna mess up. That's no one's perfect. Someone's going to, it gradually is going to get you to the point that you're going to, hit your shot. It's going to land or it's going to miss or it's going to be the system of the game. And that's pretty much what it is. But whatever. I don't want to brag, but, I kind of did a little. Sorry about that.
You're a fucking god if you somehow do that. I think, there you'll definitely feel it. And then with the 4-man content, I feel like even with those, freebie gear can be difficult. I mean, they haven't done a 4-man in a while, but I think a new 4-man's actually coming up very, very soon, which I believe is going to be Vile, right? They teased it. So I think with the 4-man Vile quest, that's going to be difficult for somebody with just freebie gear. Clear level 100
kind of.
free gear, herd. Do you even have it available? Do you have it unlocked?
I've been using free gear.
If you do get to level 100 with freebie gear, why would you upgrades? That's what I'm saying. I haven't heard anybody do it, but maybe, that's the thing. I don't know if you could do it in time. There's time limits. And even then, I think you get your ass handed to you. Rank 100s.
To his point, critical. Yes and no, because the lower of your DPS, I mean not DPS, excuse me, your battle power, it's gonna be harder for you. But also, so if you don't have the right potency or the right floor potency, yes, it's gonna be harder. Because now you're depending on your skill factor, not on, your equipment's carrying you. You're carrying yourself. So you're depending on your skill factor of survivability, of how long you're gonna sustain in the game. So that's why my DPS, I mean, my battle power's low, but my DPS, I don't really know how to manage it well. So that's also, you know, again, my play style is in factor in play. Because like I said, I depend on countering a lot. So I need a build to counter and sustain as much as possible. I haven't found that sweet spot yet. I still need to play with certain fixes. But again, it would be nice to pick out one individual fixa to replace the fixa augments. But they haven't done that yet to replace all three. So I need to find all three. But that is really hard to do. So my equipment is not there yet. It's kind of there, but it's not there yet. That's why, you know, I could do certain things. I could manipulate my maximizing number and being efficient about it, and as well as minimize my number from depending how I attack and how I perform. And there are certain players, they're like, why my free to play equipment is maybe better than their equipment that they have, because they're hitting a certain numbers, but they are already maxed out, decked out. It's because they don't know how the system works well. If they watch a certain video that I explain about min-maxing, I explain certain formulas and how I visualize. This is how
See you later.
the floor potency and this and that on a certain video of mid-maxing. So it comes to the point as depending on what gear that you have, you can minimize and maximizing a certain number and have a broad range of a total number. If players are just focusing on numbers, I gave a little bit certain numbers and points, and I don't focus on that. I'm focusing more on a scientific standpoint of view. That, yeah, there's going to be numbers involved, but the calculation's already there. I don't need to do it because it's already there. That's, you know, a lazy way to do it. But also, it makes a perfect sense than just mathematics. Because mathematics, you're just seeing a linear path. And he's more of a mathematic guy, just focusing on numbers and data, not science. I don't know if he's focusing on the science part of it. That's what I see. And also involves like coding. Okay. Because I know he's thinking of coding on certain parts in a certain level. I don't see it that way. I see it a different way. He's probably in a different age than me, so he learned certain things differently from me when I was in school. So, and who was his teacher that taught him like coding or any of those type of things? And I have several different type of teachers, and also the one that taught me about bypassing and all the things like that. But that's a different story for another time.
It's such a nice challenge. is shitty because it's kind of like a one and done thing. Like once you do it, you've kind of done it.
Yep.
There isn't much of an incentive to keep repeating the highest rank. It would be crazy, but funny, is if they made it like a weekly. You have to do level 100 as a weekly to get stuff.
That would be so stupid.
That would be something. Asking people to go through the 100 ranks for that. I don't think they would ever do
Hell
that.
no.
But that'd be crazy.
But
I feel like definitely the average player would not be able to do that.
True. Even myself included. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care for it, but I know there would be people like myself that want to do it. I just don't give a shit. But like I know Spikesu, he wants something hard and challenging, and like you know how like Diablo you have your easy, normal, hard, and extreme, and then god tier, nightmare and things like that. He wants something like that. So if there is something like that, people that want you know something challenging and harder, that would be nice for people that wants it.
But hey, it might be your incentive to actually try for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on what that reward would be. I don't think the 20 SG would be enough. It'd have to be more than that, or something else.
The reward is shit.
Like you ignore the 20 SG weekly, yeah.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think it could be the same as that. Yeah, I feel like when new content comes out that isn't like LTQ and stuff like that, the normie thing to do, I think you actually kind of want upgrades. You actually feel the upgrades in those, in my opinion.
Depending on the player.
I just don't know if Krono has noticed it as much because he's almost always in best in slot.
Yeah.
Like he always goes for it right away. So he doesn't know how it feels to be in freebie gear.
Exactly.
Like I think he's giving freebie gear way too much credit.
I do.
It's like how much. Like I think it's a massive difference in freebie gear, correct?
Yes.
Because right now my potency is 375.2. I think the difference is almost 100% potency, if not more. But I could be wrong.
It's gonna be more.
Okay, so we got this. What is the armor called? I think I saved it. It is Decim. This is the freebie.
Yep. He's comparing.
See you later.
Yeah, it's definitely more than 100.
It is.
The freebie gear, you got 236%.
Comparing this armor and this.
And as a new player, you're not going to have the add-on skills. You're not going to have the experience of playing the game. You're going to feel so much worse than somebody that's best in slot. I feel like he's giving freebie gear way too much credit.
I do agree.
Way too much credit. So I think nowadays you actually want to upgrade. At least partly you want to upgrade. Beyond this.
I'd say yes and no.
I feel like for most people, they'd probably just go maybe to like Acrotasis if they care. And to the Acrocelio and maybe just slap in some like LCs and stuff. That's like a bit better.
To his argument, I would just stick to this. But the freebie one is better. But this other one, what you have to craft, it would be better than the free gear. However, it just takes time and effort, and you have to get Meseta and focus on increasing and enhancing your weapon. But if you want, because it's like I think Kuropi has said before, and maybe other content creators and some other gamers, there's two focus involved. Either you want to deck out looking stylish, or enhancing your equipment, and those two take a toll. So, as you could see, weapon is pricey, especially Star 12 and Legendary. And then if you want to go, and also, you know, armor. Then if you want like camos for your weapon, it's pricey as hell, as you can see. And if you want, you know, deck out your creative space, or, you know, look pretty and fancy, let's see, hold on. Oops. Let's see if I can find. Okay, like cosmetics, it's gonna be pricey. So, depending what theme you're looking for, or, you know, finding voices and things like that, nothing's cheap in this game. Nothing's free in this game. Even if it's free, it still costs you a pretty penny.
And you know, I'd recommend doing like the Lars and Ratty, you know, and then of course having EXs in your weapon. So like all this would be LC versions, and then you would have like the Ratty and Lars, because those are 100% guarantees that are better than everything else, and basically the same price as buying 10 of one of these things to guarantee it. Even your current gear is like 50% worse. Feels painful for you to make a mistake with augments because they're so expensive. Yeah. I would say even now, like, even with them being like 300,000 or up to $1 million, like the Giga Trial is, I feel like that's still like a decent amount of money for most people. Like most people are not going to grind deck space to oblivion to get more attempts. You know, buy the augments and get more attempts. And I think that's good. I think deck space is boring as shit. I don't think it should be a requirement to do to progress. I think I'd rather do the other quests. I'd rather do the LTQs, the urgent quests, and get drops that way. Like he was accumulating all of those Gigas Mass Days and whatever else. I'd rather it be like that than me have to do deck space for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I was grinding purple triggers for Giga Trials. Like, fuck grinding deck space. I'd rather grind the purple trigger and get it myself. Like, that's so much better to me. It's more fun that way. And I actually managed to get people together for it too. It was nice. So I think this whole part of the problem is not a problem.
Again, I understand where in some situations it's great to be able to just pick up something and roll with it and have a good time. But in the current state of the game, the devs are more concerned.
Now, could there be augments that are a little bit more expensive, are more rare to get? Sure. But every single augment, no.
About everyone doing everything, then they are about rewarding you for being able to get into that piece of content. And what it's done is it's created a situation where the content they funnel you into, they have to make sure it has everything they
we're gonna get a new best in slot soon.
They're gonna be doing.
I can, just
because it's the only content worth doing.
I can just feel it in the bones.
It kind of builds on itself over and over and over again. And part of this comes from the way that the game is structured as well. And it causes other issues too earlier on. One thing you'll notice is that there's not really an early game in PSO2 NGS.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have an early game.
And that's true. I like, the only thing you consider is like the early game is just going through the story and getting skill points. But that doesn't take a ton of time. You could literally do that in a day if you're really dedicated, you know, as like a new player. But I think for most you can probably do it in like a week, you know, without really trying. You know, if you just put in a couple hours here and there. You know, actually watching the cutscenes and stuff. If you skip the cutscenes, it'll be much faster. But, yeah, if you actually like watching the cutscenes, actually, you know, going around, maybe smacking some of those red boxes, getting the extra SG and Maceta and whatnot, I think it would actually take like a week or so. Yeah. That's basically the early game. And then you kind of get thrust into the end game once you're done with the story. And you are, the story takes you to like max level.
I agree.
I don't know if they still have that campaign going on, or if it's like a permanent thing where once you get to Retem or complete Retem, you get like a XP ticket, and if you use it, it's like a whole bunch of XP to get you to like level.
See you later.
Like 70 something or 80 from where you're at, which is, in my opinion, stupid, but it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they give the XP ticket, but maybe they don't anymore. But
they
as far
still
as I know,
do.
it's still in there. I don't know if the ticket is like once per account or once per character.
They still do.
I want to say the XP ticket is gone. Maybe. Well, I think if you log into a character that's beyond that story point, you just get it automatically, right? That's what happens to this character for me.
No, you still have XP earnings and rare drop rarity items.
Oh, that's base game.
Rapid fritters.
Yeah, it's 100 million fucking XP, which gives you a bajillion levels. Gaiden was different, and they changed Gaiden. Gaiden used to give you a ton of XP, like 15 mil or something. Was it 15 mil? Not nearly as close as 100 mil, but I gave you like 15 mil, so I think the reason was because it was to close the gap to go to Caveris, because like they did this weird thing where it's like when it initially came out, you know, it was just Alio, and then you went to Retem, and then when we were playing, like at the time, we went back to Alio and then back to Retem.
Something like that.
So new players who didn't experience that as it was happening, they can just kind of skip the levels that we got from the repeating going back and forth, so they could just go right to Caveris. There was no like story we had going back and forth. It was just like this weird revisit thing, just because they were reusing the areas. That's all it was. But they have since changed Gaiden to not do that, and his XP that he did give you is now spread throughout the story instead. So you're still getting the XP, it's just not in one chunk anymore. Like, not just like, what just happened, why did I gain 10 levels? Because so many people were confused about that. Mm-hmm. Like, did I accidentally cheat the game? Like, what? Did I break it? What happens here?
The early game is once you finish the story. The story is like one giant tutorial.
Yeah, so he just said the same thing, yeah. Just basically when you finish the story, do all the cocoons, the towers, get your skill points. That's pretty much the beginning.
To be perfectly honest. And
I would basically say there's no mid-game. It's kind of just like going through the story, and then you're just kind of at the end point. You get your freebie gear at level 65, which you just saw, with a pith weapon and the Decim armor. And I guess you kind of just like work your way from there. I mean, I guess you could call it mid-game at that point, making your progress towards the best in slot augments. But like you're kind of still doing the same content as somebody that has best in slot augments.
Yeah.
Because you're doing the LTQs, you're doing the urgent quests
that
they're doing. You're doing deck space if you want to grind Maseta, I guess, as like a more efficient way. And maybe that's like the problem, is people are jumped into the end game with the people that are veterans.
Agree.
But at the same time, it does like mingle the veterans and newer players so that they can help each other or kind of have like a community there, and people are kind of like focused onto the same stuff and not split up between new players and not. But I think a way to remedy that is to have a piece of content still that both kind of players want to do, but also have content that's like, oh, you kind of need to have upgrades.
There's another problem involved. They need to get rid of ship 1, 2, 3, and 4 to make it one ship. So kind of like the base PSO2, that everyone is intertwined. There's no ship 1, ship 2, ship 3, ship 4, and everyone's into that one pod. That's should be, so they could have, you know, players that like Krono wants to do X, Y, and Z, they can, and there will be more majority like him, and people like critical, and other, I'm just naming people, then that, for an example, not for, you know, poking them like this is, them, they have to be like that. No, I'm just saying it could be this way, you know, but does it have to be? I don't know. Um, it's just spitballing at this point.
And I feel like they've done some steps in that direction, like we just said, with Masquerade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a new player with freebie gear is going to be doing rank 1 to 100 of Masquerade.
No, because they got rid of that idea at the beginning of the game, because there was level 15 or level 20 that purple monster or purple dog that comes in every now and then. They got rid of that because people are complaining of leeching. People are, getting supplies and shit like that. Certain content creators and certain gamers are complaining that lower players are amongst with higher players. So the players that's level 1 wants to fight a boss that is level 15 or level 20, they cannot gain XP or gain certain materials. So it went from that point on, and it made it worse and worse throughout the game. It's those players' fault of complaining about that type of thing. But yeah, I forgot what else I was gonna go to it, but yeah.
And if they do get up to 100, they're definitely not doing rank 100. It's just not possible. I don't think you can do the damage. You will not have the experience to do that.
Exactly.
I just think it's almost impossible. Maybe the best of the best player that has been playing this game the entire time can do it with freebie gear, but a new player is not going to fucking do that. I feel like a new player is not even going to go through the tedium of going through all those ranks, let alone do rank 100 with that shit. But yeah.
For sure.
Told we're not really getting story anymore, but we're getting story in August. I don't know how much story it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be like a little short thing or it's going to be an actual like
a minute story again. Probably.
But yeah, we're getting story in August. Right here, August onward.
That would
story
suck.
update. Also, apparently a new action system. Last time they said new action system was the Mars thing, so I don't know what else they're going to add for that. Hopefully it isn't as random as the Mars system. I would kind of like something that involves what our classes do, but
I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. It's always like a we'll see if that's actually going to be good or if it's going to last.
Yeah.
They said it's more linked to our character with the new action system. Oh, did they? I must have missed that. But if that is the case, that sounds good. Or it could be good. It feels like the Mars system is so detached from what we normally do.
Great one, to be fair. It's like one giant homework tutorial. Like, if you like the story, like if you're a fan of the story, then cool. You enjoy.
Surprisingly, a lot of people say the story's good. In my opinion, I think it's serviceable. It's okay. There's actually people that like the story a bit.
I do like my story myself because I went blind and I wasn't like the veteran players that was crossover from base PSO2 to New Genesis. So it was, I didn't watch the anime or whatever. I was just focusing on the game. The story was, decent. It was fine. It was good. But since they minimized the story and you kind of got lost from there, and only each chapter you're pretty much theory crafting, because it was a little bit of story and so much of gameplay. And also, once you finish the the chapter or the main story, what else do you have to do? And, you know, it just falls off from there. So, is it good? It's to each their own. But, whatever.
I don't know if that's just people that really just like the Phantasy Star series, or if that's actually just new players liking it. I don't know. But apparently, like, it's not as bad as what's in my head. And that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't think the story is absolute trash, but it's definitely not, like, good. It's okay. Like I said, serviceable.
It's like
There's
edible.
some, like, good moments.
You went through that story itself, but